And they came up to me. They all wanted to talk to me later. And I'm like, cool. And it was like, yeah, they're asking about their life, and what job they should have, this, and this. And then I asked them, and I was like, well, what do you want your life to look like? And no one had asked them that.
And
like
at the end.
Yeah, they're like,
how do you engineer backwards?
No, like in the end, like now, like what do you want your actual daily life to look like? Like they're like, oh, should I take that job? I'm like, whoa, like which life appeals to you? Like, what do you want your life to be like? And no one had asked them that.
The following is a conversation with Anna Bozovic, the founder of Analytics Miami. Anna was born in Serbia, grew up in New York City, and has lived in Miami Beach the last 10 years. She uses her data mining skills to sell luxury residential real estate, coupled with her athletic ability to grapple with some MMA and jiu-jitsu warriors. Her spirit lives in the present, while her mind charts the path to happiness. This is the David Maggard podcast. To support, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Now I present to you Anna Bozovic. All right, thanks for sitting down with me. I really appreciate it. So I want to first dive into, before we do any origin story or background or what have you, is we're in Miami, Florida. We're in the robust market. You're in real estate. I'm in real estate. You love looking at data, it seems, right? And you're in the luxury condo, single family home, but I think you dabble in commercial as well, and you can expand on that. But so what's top of the head? I mean, I'm sure you get these questions often, but what are you feeling? Like, what's your first initial thoughts of the market?
Oh, my first initial thought is that we're at the early days of a shift in our country, and that we're all lucky to be here. And that's gonna be reflected upon by market action, by quality of life, by everything. South Florida is emerging as this capital of the 21st century world. There's a massive shift in focus that I've been calling going on, and we're on the receiving end of that shift in focus. And so it's early days, and it's exciting.
Amen. No, I love it.
That's what comes to my mind. Early days and exciting.
I love it. I look off the balcony and just look at Miami, and I'm like, I love that it's growing. I love that we're a part of it. And the future is bright.
Skyline didn't
Florida.
exist 20 years ago.
No.
And now look at it. And it's still early days. That's the beauty of it.
People building right now. And I grew up in a place called Jupiter, Florida, which is North Palm Beach. Yeah. Very nice town, very nice people. But if you go there, and if they're a local that still lives there, they hate growth. They're like, oh no, there's too many people here. Oh no. And I'm like,
it's the same thing here. They complain about the traffic. They complain about whatever. I grew up in New York City. I'm like, meh, the traffic's still not that bad. It has a ways to go.
Yeah. When I hear people say, I tell them, I live in Brickell. And they're like, oh, it's hard to get in, hard to get out. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm in. And my office is 5 minutes down the road. And I come home, and the Brickell Key's right here. And we're on the water, and access to 95 is right there. I mean, what else do you want?
Life is beautiful. It's one of those things, people complaining about change. It's something I talk about a lot. Is there's this human condition where people think the present is sacrosanct, and they lose sight of how recent their reality is. Also, the way that we grew up in Jupiter, right? Those people weren't there 100 years before that. There was nothing there 100 years, quite literally, right? Yeah. So why would we 50 years before that, right? Let alone 100. So why would we have any expectation that the next 50 or 100 years would be any less drastically different? Just because it's their reality doesn't make it special. Just because it's theirs, things always change.
Yeah, I mean, people look back in history. They say history repeats itself, right? But yeah, technology is changing things faster than ever before.
Well, history repeats itself because human nature is the constant. That's how I think of it. We just have cooler toys now, but the human animal is the same. Like, let's not kid ourselves. So the way I look at history is it's the aggregate of human herding behavior over time. And people herd, they move in waves. And there's a new place, new technology that pushes people one way or the other. And that's what that change is. But the underlying human element, human nature is the same. But the places change, the technology changes, there's growth, there's this, there's that. Bust cycles of empires, monetary policy, all those things. But within those cycles, there's the human animal, and the human animal is the human animal.
Yeah, and that's what the question comes down: what's the existence of life, and what does life matter,
Yeah, and here we are. So back to that. We're so lucky to be in South Florida.
I love it
for so many reasons.
I love it.
I couldn't think of a better place to live.
And you lived in a couple.
Yeah.
Hold on, before we get to that. So, I want to know though, because I don't really look at data for. I mean, I've appraised a few, like the Paramount we did that like 2 years ago, whatever. Beautiful building, you know, they market the most amenities in the world or something like that.
Yeah.
But and then there's really nice towers still going up right now on the Aston Martin right down here. But what's the hottest condo market, or what's the hottest single family, or do you just what's that?
The hottest?
Yeah.
Look, the same sales patterns are holding Tri-County for South Florida. So when you look at data for million plus, whatever your cutoff is, the same patterns are holding in Tri-County, Florida. What we're seeing now is especially in Q1 of this year, Q2, which we're seeing a divide. We're seeing a polarization where million plus is still at multiples of what it was before COVID, and below million is now transacting slightly below the most recent COVID numbers. Volume has fallen. And that's part of that polarization in America, migration of wealth and talent, all that stuff that we're getting here. Well, and it speaks to the audience that we're getting, because we're getting an influx of people who can move. And those are people who are rewiring their habits around the internet also. It's the more mobile people who tend to make more money, who are coming from our feeder jurisdictions like New York City and coming with that money. And so when we look at the Miami area, the hottest markets, in my opinion, I mean, this is a little bit of conjecture because it's hard to quantify this, but it's urban core prime real estate that is high quality. So for instance, waterfront houses also. If we look at Palm, Hibiscus, those little submarkets there, Miami Beach, we have actually dry lot properties trading at prices per square foot we've never seen before at volume. All of those bars have risen. It's almost like buying a townhome by Central Park West 50 years ago, 80 years ago. That's what that is, because you can't replace the location, the water, any of that stuff. And the same thing is going to hold for those really nice, new level, expensive, premium luxury condo towers being built in the urban core. People recognize the value of the location and the quality of the product they're getting, and that's attracting the money that we're getting coming from feeder jurisdictions, the finance guys,
what do you call
the tech
the
guys.
urban core? Downtown, Edgewater, Midtown, all
that?
Again,
coming from
coastal.
Yeah, coming from outside of Miami, you're not even necessarily familiar with all the neighborhood names. You're just going to look at the map and be like, all right, what's close? so anything up to Edgewater, we're calling Midtown right now. If you look at the map, anything that gets you within 15, 20 minutes of where your points of interest are in Miami. That's how I would define it. Anyone moving here will be like, all right, am I close to restaurants? Am I close to theater? What am I close to? Am I close to the water? That's another thing too with the houses that's happening in the islands off of Miami Beach.
Yeah, I was wondering, you touched on the people that are moving here, and I was wondering what's the price point, because I do a lot of office buildings, right? So I see the leases of the tech companies. I see the
Citadel just signed the announcement with
93,000 square feet, 6 floors. I was just reading it before you came here.
Yep.
Yeah, at 8:30.
Which is amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the land that
for
they
so
bought.
many reasons, it's amazing. The fact that they're coming, the prices that they're paying, like all of it.
They paid like $380 million for that land on the water where they're going to build their headquarters.
Yep.
Like crazy amounts. But I was wondering, like those tech guys, or even like the Founders Fund, which is Peter Thiel and them, and Wynwood, where are they buying? Or
Peter Thiel bought a house.
Did he?
Yeah.
I'm sure he can buy anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, like more like the people that work for them. Are they on the $1 million and lower?
Yeah. So there's a data point that there's.
Are they buying? Are they renting? Like, what is?
I mean, our million plus transaction volume is still super strong, while the rest of the country is dropping off. We're still at.
So who buys $1 million? I know, in like this building right here, right? Older condominium tower,
right?
But this is a 2-bedroom that we're in, and one recently sold for $750. Now I think that's on the top, but so $1 million's not far from there, right? So and me and my wife aren't rich. We both have nice careers and stuff like that.
Right.
But is that who's buying? I mean, who buys $1 million plus? And is that $1 million to $3 million, and then after that it goes to a different level, or how does that work?
Yeah. Look,
because that's not my wheelhouse.
Yes, question. So all of those tranches, $1 million, $1 million, 3 to 5, 5 plus, 10 plus, they've all seen transaction volume has risen in multiples across all of those. And that hasn't fallen off in Q2 of this year. That was that divide that happened. Sub-million dropped to pre-COVID, above million rose. So who's buying in there? It's the people relocating here to work in all those companies that are signing.
Capital.
It's heavy domestic capital. And actually, if you talk to developers and their pre-construction sales for condos, so luxury condo pre-construction sales used to rely upon the Latin American market. Now they're telling us that they're getting a lot of domestic buyers that are fueling it. And what's also interesting stat for pre-construction and the general luxury condo market is that larger floor plan units are selling, and there's a supply and demand disconnect in that market, 3 bedrooms plus, because people are moving their families down, and not everybody wants to live in a house. So I know for a number of my friends who have luxury condo projects going up, they told me that in the past they would sell the smaller units, would sell out first, the 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms. Now they're selling out their penthouse units and larger floor plans first, and that's reflected in sales data in the general market too, that larger floor plan units are selling first. That's a little bit of a shift.
That's a big shift.
Yeah, and that indicates that people are moving. They're not just buying crash pads, they're moving their families down, which we would expect if whole businesses
that's the
are moving.
shift of owner-occupied compared to investor.
Yeah, and just people coming not just to have vacation or whatever it is, but to come here. And that's to live and create, right? So there's a stereotype that people came to Miami to hide money, that's not even a bad thing. Like if your country's going to steal
just
your
so
money,
it doesn't deflate.
just like go bring it here. That's not a bad thing. Even they're criminals, but they're going to park their money here to save it, to preserve it, or they're coming to retire or to party. Let's say those three.
Sure.
And now we're getting people who are coming here based on perceptions of freedom and because they want to create. And that's huge. That's a major, major shift in psychology. We have all these tech guys here. The founder of TechCrunch, he's down here too. Every day he's tweeting he's saying how great it is here. You look, guys, palm trees. Like all these guys with massive Twitter followings are basically mascots to the world about how great it is here.
Yeah, no,
And it's just begun. It's just begun. And while we're feeding that, I call that like positive momentum because it feeds itself. Momentum is a real force, right? You get like, one office of whomever it is, high value people moves over. Well, guess what? They all have friends in New York and Chicago, wherever it is they came from. Their friends are going to come down. They're going to be like, hey, this is pretty awesome. And more and more and more. And then similarly, our feeder jurisdictions have negative momentum building. Budget shortfalls, all that stuff, because a tiny percentage in high tax jurisdictions, a tiny percentage of people account for the vast majority of taxes. And you get just a bit of them leaving, all of a sudden your budget shortfall gets much, much worse very, very quickly. And that becomes a self-feeding cycle also. And then it becomes a thing where as money leaves,
I'm sure you're talking about like New York, California.
Yeah. As money leaves, they become increasingly hostile to capital. It's kind of fascinating. And then they enact policies that kick capital out while the capital already realized that it doesn't have to be there. It's like, so it feeds itself. So we have positive momentum, they have negative momentum at the same time.
Yeah, I read this article that said like Silicon Valley is their vacancy rate for office is 40% right now.
Yep. New York's is higher than national average also.
Which is crazy because I mean, in those tech companies and venture capitalist companies are keeping their headquarters there, but they're doing these satellite offices, Miami, Austin, New York, London, and that's.
And then like hybrid work patterns
Miami
are emerging,
Beach.
and those guys are very mobile. They work in tech. And one thing that I've talked about a lot is that New York City was the capital of the 20th century, post World War II, post Bretton Woods world. That's very, very important to recognize. It was not always the capital of the world, and it will not always be, because nothing is. Before that, it was London. Before it was Amsterdam, and so forth, right? So all of these epicenters, these habits, the infrastructure, et cetera, they were all established before the internet. How we went to work, all the office buildings, all that stuff was super dense and busy before the internet. The internet came at the very end, and it wasn't fast from the beginning. It was incorporated piecemeal, but the habit stayed. The work week, the buildings, all that stuff. And then COVID broke habits. And then it gave people time to rethink how they live and work. And even if 10% of people reshape their lives at scale, that's enormous. And they're the ones who tend to have more money, who tend to be mobile. And we're getting them.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the migration here is, what was it? It got up to like 2,000 people a day or something. Yes. And South Florida, I think, was absorbing like 34% of that. That's what I read at one time.
Yep. And there's an IRS report recently that the biggest net loser for tax base was in 2020 was in New York, and we were the largest gainer.
I mean, yeah. Do you ever hear any cons? Like, do you ever hear anyone say that you sold them a house or whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm moving back?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
What do you think that, as it increases, right? What does the city need? Like, we have a brand new, like, Brickell City Center, right? It's brand new. A lot of development going on in Miami Beach with the office. And so there's a lot of different stuff going on over there, right? What do you think, obviously, our downtown needs to be? Like Mana's developments, he needs to, act.
At some point.
Wynwood's taking off, right? We got construction
it's
all over there.
In.
It's a great hub for office now, and the multifamily, the retail's already been there. So what do you think Miami needs? Like, what is it? I love it because it's growing, and that I have easy access to my, office and life here. And we actually have a townhouse in Fort Pierce where we go surfing on the beach. So we get out every weekend.
Yeah.
We leave. And so it's nice to come back. And I love the energy and being around it and being around a growing environment. Plus, I went to FIU and I'm a professor over there. So I'd like to touch on that. But like, you know, the airport's expanding. What do we need? You're from New York, and you look at it probably through a different. I mean, you've been here 10 years.
I love that the airport is so close to the city. I grew up in New York, where JFK is like the pits of hell, and it takes you 2 hours to get there. Every time I get to Miami International, I'm like, wow, that was so easy.
Yeah, right. Your friends are like, "Can you come get me?" And you're like, "I guess so." It's pretty
like,
close.
Why? Like, it's like,
or you can take a quick Uber. But,
it's like a $20 Uber ride. What is the city? Okay, so cities develop organically. It almost never works where someone's gonna micromanage or top down direct a city. They develop organically. I think the other attempts fail. So what really makes me optimistic is that we're attracting talent right now. Not just going back to the previous people who are coming here to retire, park money, or party. Yeah. We're attracting talent. And that's the magic of cities. Cities collect people. They bring them within proximity of each other. And that's how magic happens, creativity.
Collaboration.
Yeah, that's how things spark. They don't come from ivory tower, some professor going, the city needs more of this. It never happens that way.
Yeah, city planners.
No, city planners don't work. All great cities come as sort of organic collaborations. And that end, like we're super lucky to be getting all these innovative people who are moving here. So I think the city is going to, as much as it's filled in the last 20 years, that's just going to accelerate. And that's it. What the city needs to do, what the state needs to do, is to maintain this friendly environment that's attracting these people. That should be our focus, is that we want to keep getting the talent. That's it. And everything else is going to fill in around it. So we want to be very aware of why people are coming here, what is attractive about our area, and to foster that.
Point. Yeah, I didn't think yet, because since we're attracting great minds, it could change once those great minds stay 100%. Here, move around, collaborate.
That's how things happen.
Yeah.
We're attracting money and talent, and then anything is possible.
And the best talent.
Exactly.
People love the 24-hour or 24/7, 365 sun, right? No taxation.
It's healthy here. It's wonderful. And
healthy. People are working out everywhere. You see it everywhere. Yeah, I mean, I like what you said, that we're attracting brilliant minds. And then once those minds get here and start looking around and actually collaborating with, the developers, the entrepreneurs, the startups, the tech guys. Yeah, it's going to change.
Because they can't help themselves. People who are creative can't help themselves. They're always doing stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like, oh, let's change that. Oh, that's a better thing. And they came from somewhere. So they saw how the infrastructure or something else works somewhere else, or architecture works somewhere else, or materials were different than what we use here. That's a good point. Think that. Nice.
So that's what I would be. And I think we're on the right track on a city level and a state level. So hopefully that we keep that flow coming.
So great. I guess, and you said the buyers are domestic. So I guess that's the things I wanted. I wanted to know the hot markets, kind of touch on that more coastal.
That's because we've always had the Latin American buyer. During COVID, there was a slowdown in international buying, and that was supplanted by domestic buying, which is still there. But we're always going to have the Latin American buying because there's always going to be some type of conflict. The Colombians just are unfortunately seemingly on the Chavez playbook with the next person that they elected. We'll see if Lula comes back into power in Brazil. I mean, they got him out of
we're
prison.
the gateway city, right? Everyone wants to come over here.
So there's always going to be people coming out of there who are going to need a new home base or an alternative place to put their capital. But what's really fascinating, the surge that we've seen, this new reality that we've seen with our luxury buying is driven by domestic demand. And that's where the money and talent is coming from. Those are people who are coming here to live and work and create a home.
Yeah, and that's all we could ask for, right?
Yep.
Because they're also the people that are going to go and have the office space and put the companies in there, or buy the 6th floor as a First Citadel, 93,000 square feet.
Correct.
God,
and care about the quality of life and the streets and everything else because it's their home. Yeah. Right.
Oh, I love it. All right, so let's digress. And you were born in Yugoslavia, Serbia, right? And then you grew up in New York.
Yeah.
How did you? Where in New York?
Well, so I was 3 when we came to America. And so when I was small, we lived in the Bronx, and then we lived in Riverdale, which is also the Bronx, but boring. And then I went to Columbia, then I lived in New York City, in Manhattan.
Did you love it? I got a chance to live in New York in 2000. I lived there for I actually left on September 5th compared to September 11th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I lived in Chelsea.
Okay.
So, I cruised around the
Yeah.
different boroughs, but I don't like. You could say something in Brooklyn, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But how did you love New York or like?
I loved Manhattan. I loved it. I remember when I went to college when I was 17 and I never left. I stayed on campus every summer. So I lived in Manhattan from age 17 to 27 or so. And I loved it. And
What did you do as a kid? Like, what did you do like before, like, from elementary to high school? Like, what were you? I know you're heavy in sports and what have you. Did you have any siblings?
Younger sister,
Younger
6.5
sister?
years younger.
And you guys, where is she, or were you guys still?
Well, this is actually very funny. She moved to Miami about a month ago.
Oh, fantastic.
I know.
Cool.
And she comes and she goes, Anna, you're right. This is the best place to live. Because she'd visited me a few months ago, maybe 5-6 months ago, for like 2 weeks.
Awesome.
And she stayed at my place and she was like, it's nice like this every day. I'm like, I keep telling
That's
you.
what everyone says, right? That's exactly what people say.
It's like,
nice
I'm not
this,
lying to you. It's like this
Yeah.
every day. And she's like, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Wow, fantastic. Are you? I mean, I guess you're excited, right? Are you close to
Yeah.
your sister?
Yeah, growing up, because I left home when I was 17 and she was 11. So she was very young when I left. And also from age like 14, 15, I was barely home because I just avoided being home. I trained all day. So I didn't see her very much.
Okay.
But no, we're cool.
So
We're good
different
now.
childhood, kind of.
Yeah, we just like, she was little and I
Yeah.
wasn't home much and then I left. So I didn't really know her as an adult until pretty recently.
That's beautiful, though.
Yeah.
It's cool
Yeah, and
that
I'm
you
proud
get
of
to
her. She's doing
reconnect.
great. She branched out her own. She moved down here and yeah, she's
Is
doing
she
good.
in real estate or what?
No,
No. Are you gonna? Would she go into real estate or would you?
I don't know.
I know.
I don't know. We're very different.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What did your parents do when you were growing up? Like, how were their influences on you? Or
Yeah,
did they not?
No,
or-
I mean, everyone's influence. Yeah, of course. So we came to America because my father got his PhD in electrical engineering. So it was something, I don't know the details, but it was something to do with that. And then my mother was a doctor in Yugoslavia, but then she was not a doctor in America. So she just stayed home.
Nice. She didn't want to be a doctor.
We had to take all those tests again. And she didn't speak English when she got to America.
And does she speak English now?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've lived in Miami for so
Or
long.
the
I should
Cubans
speak
who are here
Spanish.
for 20 years and they can't speak a word of English. Just saying. You're
I feel like that person. I should speak Spanish.
No, and then my sister was born 3 years after we moved here. And then she took them again at some point. I was a kid. I forgot exactly when. But then I don't think she'd do residency again. She never did it again.
So let's read one of these. Who gave you the most guidance or advice as a teenager?
Teenager. That's a tough
Like,
one.
was there any pivotal moment? Like, I don't know, it could be with sports or school or, I don't know. I don't know if you're religious or,
I had
social or whatever.
yeah. When I
Was
was
there someone that stood out? Like,
one person,
maybe there wasn't.
You know what? One person, no. But what gave me a lot of structure when I was a teenager was training. I fenced competitively when I was younger, and it was a way for me to. I did as little school as possible. To be very honest, I disliked school immensely, and
What did you dislike about it?
all of it. I thought it was prison for children, and I stand by everything that I said.
From an early age, you thought that?
Oh yeah, from like very early age.
Yeah.
Very early age. I told them that they were wasting my time, and I was there against my will. I'm completely serious. And I never agreed. No, I'll tell you, I disagree.
But did your parents push academics on you or something, or
no,
why did you have that pushback of like, this ain't for me?
I just truly felt it was a waste of my time, and
You would have rather been doing what?
to a level that like I found insulting. Like I'm being completely
Yeah,
serious.
I love it.
Yeah, and as I'm older, I stand by everything I said then. Like I think I'm 1,000% right. It's just the concept of putting children in rows and expect them all to be at the same pace and sit there.
Sure.
It's just horrifying. First of all, life doesn't work that way. Success doesn't work that way. It's uncreative. It's mind-numbing. And if you're actually intelligent, I think it stifles your creativity and wastes your time. I thought it was a horrifyingly bad waste of, I would have been better off playing in the dirt and reading books than most of it. And I mean, I did very well at school without trying. So that also forms bad habits because you don't really try and
less
you're
effort.
there. So the whole thing was just like, I really resented it. I resented it strongly. And also I didn't get along with my parents. So it was just like not the happiest of times.
Why didn't you get along with your parents?
Oh, who knows? I mean,
Just from like teenage angst or like?
no, I don't speak to them. It's
Why don't you speak to your
Yeah,
parents?
I don't even have one answer for that. And I
Right.
no, I'm thinking about it because
Yeah.
I don't have any like anger. I'm like so over it. It's past life. And I'm such a weirdo that I truly define like everything that happens to you, you have to define as a positive because it got you to where you are today.
Yeah.
And if you believe where you are, if you believe in your future, you have to believe that you are where you need to be. And thus, by definition, everything that happened to you needed to happen to get you to where you are today. So I truly have no angst or anything like that. And I wish them well. I have nothing bad to say. It's just completely incompatible people to me. Is all I can say. And I'm sure that they're not like bad people. I'm sure that they tried their best in their way, which I don't
How would
understand.
they feel if they heard you say that? I'm sure you've said it before.
I'm sure I've said it. Like I have no idea. I truly don't know. But I mean, I've learned to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. It's not like they're bad people. It just doesn't work for me. And it's
So let me ask you this question. Then. Being a parent myself, right? My parents are passed away. But you met my son. And what should I do to not have that happen?
Oh,
or
yeah.
to limit that to happen, right?
Yeah,
like,
I
because
think,
that would be I would be crushed.
Right. Yeah. So I think that when I watch people with their kids, I think that one of the worst things that people can do to children is to impose their expectations and identity expectations on them.
Expectations is a bad word.
Identity expectations, all of it.
Just that word, expectations.
People are who they are. And I think that, and I truly believe this, like people are born with unique abilities, unique skills. We're all individuals. And that just because someone's your kid, you can't expect them to be what you want them to be. Just I think your main job as a parent is to make sure your kid is happy and allowed to explore who they are.
Yeah, direct them.
Yeah. Because they don't know anything. They're
advice,
kids, obviously.
Sure.
You can't be like, that's hot. They don't know it's hot, right?
Yeah.
When they're little, same type of thing. But just avoid disaster, guide people, but like allow them room to be happy and to be themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm doing that. I mean, when he wanted to be in computer science, I was stoked for him. I was like, cool. Now, if he would have said, but it's weird though, right? As a parent, and if your kid goes, I don't know, if they said something like, I want to, it's a hard one. It's hard. It's hard being a parent.
No, I'm not. I can
imagine. It really is.
It's it's also, it's like.
Do you want kids?
No.
No?
No.
Because of
who knows? But kids love me. It's the funniest thing. But
I mean, you're a real nice person and you're upbeat. So I don't know.
I'm like 12 in a good day, so like I play with them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, let's throw the ball.
Is
and
it
jump
because you just haven't
room.
met the right person, or?
No, I've never wanted them.
Yeah.
But I like other people's a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
because
always
you can
like,
walk
let's
away.
play. I know that. No, I know that.
Yeah.
But like, I have fun. But like, they're all, oh, you're so good with kids. But I like kids a lot, actually. But no.
Completely off the like.
Yeah.
No, you meet a guy and you're like, no.
I'm kind of old though too. Like it's over.
I don't know. Like, we're trying to have one right now.
Okay. But you already have one.
And and I'm real old.
Well, it doesn't matter if the man is old. That's our our limitation. That is still.
No, this is true. This is true. There's limitations to having kids. It's rough.
Yeah, but I also think it's like the plus side of having parents you're totally incompatible with is that it gives you no. It gives you freedom to be yourself. Mm-hmm. That's one of those other things. Most of our limitations in life are created by our limiting beliefs of who we are and our identity, our sort of internal identity struggle. And a lot of that is placed on people by their parents, even good parents. They just mean well, but that's just what they think that they're doing. Mm-hmm. And so it takes like, if your parents are in your life because they're, you get along with them, they're good people, whatever it is, it's almost everyone puts some sort of identity limitation on their kid. It just is. And so to get away from that and have them in your life is actually harder in some ways.
I agree. I like yourself, left. My parents divorced, and at 17, I still had my senior year to go. I said, I don't want to live with either one of you, and moved out at 17. Mm-hmm. And then being from Florida after that, I moved to like Colorado, then LA. I got away. So I never had exactly what you're talking about, that influence of parents. I had the upbringing, which was awesome. Right. But then it was like I split, and it was you guys take care of your thing, and then kind of figured out who I was. Which is
very liberating, actually.
But now I'm, as a parent, and I've been down the other route and know how hard it is and what boundary or what obstacles, pop up, that I would like to say I'm trying to guide, but I'm I guess conscious of exactly what you're explaining about. Even good parents are putting in a little bit of that, I don't know. How you
identity limitations.
Yeah, identity limitations.
And sometimes there's like a fear component to it. Most people make a lot of their life decisions based on a fear of what will happen if they don't, rather than because they really want to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I should go to school, I should do this, I should do that because it will happen if I want to. But it's like letting go of fear is really what gives you freedom to live.
Absolutely. I mean,
I mean, like all fear.
No,
and
no,
like,
I'm a full believer.
And like
I did
what
that
people
myself.
Think of, yeah, exactly. Because you believe that it's like we're all gonna die one day. Like no one gets out of this alive, right?
Yeah.
So we're all gonna die. That's inevitable. No matter how safe or unsafe you think you are today, you're gonna die. Mm-hmm. And then as far as time frames are concerned, with
making me sad.
No, but I mean this in a liberating way, actually, because it's if you accept that, then you're like, cool, like
right.
get over it. Now just live. There's this great Aurelius quote on that. It's like if you accept that you're already dead, whatever he said, then just cool, like decide and now live.
Yeah.
And any time frame that means anything, historically speaking, like, basic limit theory, a day is the same as 100 years. It doesn't matter. So just let go of time limitations and just try to connect with. So part of the reason I dislike school so strongly is that I feel like it disconnects kids from their own innate ability they have when they're very young to recognize what resonates with them, what they actually like. Mm-hmm. Little kids know what they actually like. Things make them excited. I want that. I don't want that, whatever it is. School, because it puts people all in that same pipeline, I feel actually numbs their own ability to recognize what they like.
How have you ever thought about like how you would construct a education kind of platform? Like when COVID hit and he was studying at home, I just liked it better because it felt like so much time wasted a person going to school.
Yep.
But then they want to go see their friends and have that experience as well.
Yep.
So I don't like, what is the good, education platform? And
at scale, it's a tough question because we have a very big country, and at scale, school really is prison for children / daycare for children.
Daycare. That's
yeah.
I've said that many times.
I say prison because many of them are run like prisons, but whatever. But on its most negative formation. But yeah, it's daycare. And that's very different structurally and conceptually from education. And so at scale, I don't have the answer. But not at scale, I would structure something as just guided free study, like people used to. Because look.
At their own speed.
Yeah, but there are very few basics that one needs to learn. And children in your average, schools are so crappy. They waste so much time there. And at the end, you see all these stats now. Like they can't take a percentage. Mm-hmm. Like what have you done there for 12 years?
And they're so unsafe. And
they can't read. They can barely read at a functional level, and they can't take a percentage. Like, you just spend years of your life sitting in those chairs for what?
Mm. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, the education system needs but it's, like you said, at scale and at mass, it's a hard one. Right?
It's a very hard one because it's not an isolated thing. It connects to what their families are like, all those things. And it's really, it's like daycare / prison.
I don't understand why we can't solve mass shootings, though. Why can't we create something? It's such a tragedy every time it happens, and it never happens in urban schools. It only happens in big campus schools where people walk in, walk out, no guards, no detectors for guns or anything like that, and these kids walk in and kill innocent people. It's so sad. I mean, it's happened right here in Broward a few years ago, and no one really talks about it. No one does anything about it. I talked to one of his teachers one time, and she was almost crying to me of saying, like the door doesn't have bulletproof glass, and now they're doing all kinds of drills and things. Yeah. But it's like, I told him, I'm like, look, man, you're not going to be a hero. You're either going to hide or run.
Yeah, that's
what
I mean? That's all that's going to happen.
That's it, buddy. You know what I mean?
1,000%.
Stay safe.
Yeah.
But that's another side anyways. So, all right. So, but what, did you go to museums and stuff in New York and
a little bit, but you live there, you take it for granted.
Oh,
a little bit. I
Not a big arts person, or?
I am. I like fun. I go to art stuff with friends involved. I do a lot of local art, but when I was a kid, I used to just go to the Met once in a while and walk around and look at everything. And
yeah, I guess, if you're from there. So I remember cruising around, headphones on, and just by myself, cruising in and out of museums and stuff like that.
Yeah. The biggest thing that gave me structure, honestly, were my coaches in training.
Yeah.
And the very, very few teachers that I had who were, they were at Columbia mostly.
So you enjoyed structure in training where someone's telling you, do this. Was that because you could see the results?
Yeah, the reason is, though, it's because when you're in a real training environment, you're surrounded by people, some people who are the best in the world at what they do. Mm-hmm. And anyone who's in the best in the world at what they do, whether it's sports or business, that's a very distinct energy. That's a person who is not floating through life and drifting and reacting. That's a
Yeah,
person.
I heard how you talk about Mario Sperry.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to have him.
I said his name right?
Yeah, Mario.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hear
Anyone, Mario says you are what you think, and that's one of his.
Yeah, I haven't written.
Yeah. I'm quoting him now. The other ones are me, but that's his quote.
Yeah.
Credit him. But look, anyone who's won that much and done things that are so very few people do things that are very hard, like very real time hard, and then have real results, and then do them repeatedly. And that's a mental focus. That's your own belief in something that it's created in your mind, and you can apply that to any aspect of your life. So I've had the great luck to be able to train with and be around people who are the best in the world at what they do, and that opens. First of all, it expands your horizons to what's possible and the standards that you set for yourself, and it teaches you the power of your own focus.
Power of your own focus. That's nice. Cut out the noise.
Yeah, like
get rid of the distractions.
How do you, and that also that goes back to identity formation. How do you see yourself? And that is the power of your focus. And if you meet people, like touch them, breathe their air, people who've won repeatedly, who've been the best in the world at what they do, that makes that achievement a reality, not just something you've read about. Like, there's the person. Oh, they're just a person. I can do it too.
Mm-hmm. But those people are special as well, too, right? You don't always run into those people.
No, you have to seek out the lunatics. That's that.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You have to seek them out, right?
Exactly.
And
I actively seek them out.
Yeah, through your social media, it's like,
I actively
you like
seek them
those
out.
individuals.
Yes.
Like, and jiu-jitsu, do you roll with the classes, or do you do it with private classes, or how does that work?
So, I roll with, take class. And also I have the really good luck of having a lot of amazing close friends who are black belts. I've trained with a bunch of guys who are professional fighters, UFC boxers. A lot of those guys, the UFC guys, have black belts. And so I know I have a lot of just close friends who are just amazing athletes and amazing grapplers. And so I have the good luck of training with them too for fun.
And that's, how often do you train?
I train every day.
Do you go to the, what is it called? Studio?
School? Yeah. I go there every day. I go there every day except for Sunday. I don't train Sundays. 6 days a week.
My son was taking jiu-jitsu for summer. I had a friend who's a Brazilian guy, and I used to run nightclubs and such. Okay. So he was doing security for me, and really nice guy, lives here in the roads, and has a son, and he was teaching Taylor private lessons and such. And they kept trying to get me to go. And we also like to surf. So I was like, man.
It's super fun.
Till you ever get hurt, though.
Yeah.
And you do, right?
Of course.
Because, any sport you can get hurt. You can get hurt
running.
Any
sport. I got hurt sprinting. I was sprinting. I got hurt anything. Yeah, of course. You have to be smart about it, but you're not playing chess. I mean, even if someone almost never, no one ever does anything on purpose, like, to be real. No one's really going to try to, unless there's something mentally wrong with them, in which case you shouldn't train with them, right? Mm-hmm. But there's always accidents happen. It's just normal, but you accept risk.
How flexible is the scheduling, though? Because you say you go there every day, and I would believe that you would have to go there at least four times a week, right? And I'm probably in the beginning, you're probably pretty sore when you. You are in pretty good shape.
Great shape before. I don't get sore, just unless I really kill myself. I don't really get sore. I'm pretty lucky that way.
Well,
I recover good.
In shape.
Yeah, I recover well. I've been lucky that way. I don't get I'm pretty tough. I don't get weird little ouchies very often or anything like that. Just accidental injuries, of course, happen, but otherwise I'm pretty good to go. So I do that, and then also I go to MMA Masters recently. That's been super fun. My
friend
Daniel Valverde is a coach there. So it's a training center in Hialeah. Like, Daniel is an amazing grappler.
So Daniel was good friends with the guy Ricardo who taught him.
Oh, really?
Like, I've met Daniel. Yeah.
Valverde, yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
I was just
really
there
nice guy, good-looking guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Ricardo. This was, I forget where they used to train many, like. I'm talking like
locations.
12 years ago.
They've been where they are now for a year and a half.
Yeah, I have no idea. But I met Daniel.
When I have extra time, I go up there. It's fun. And
what do you do with MMA? What does that mean?
No, they have grappling there. So I do the grappling with his guys there. It's fun.
Oh, okay.
So he trains Colby right now, coming to the UFC, and he's a bunch of pro fighters there. And so he's nice enough to let me go play with his guys. It's fun.
And you don't do this with it's just you go in there and you feel like, I'm a woman and I'm
good question.
Accepting my space.
So it's even Mario's. I'm the only girl, really. Going back to, this is great, going back to identity limitations or stuff we put in our minds, I truly never put it in my mind that it's strange that I'm there.
No, I didn't say
I'm like,
strange, but I'm just
I'm totally chill.
how comfortable you are.
1,000%.
With all men.
1,000%. Like I went the other day to my master's, and the first drill is like it's no gi. You know, it's like some clinch, and you put the guy in a guillotine and like tumble him backwards and flip on top of him. I'm like, cool, let's go. I have my partner. We do it. There's no problem. But it's just, you know, one thing also just credit to Mario, right? I'm the only woman there, and also there. These guys who, you know, especially in this day and age, all this like toxic masculinity, #MeToo stuff, right? Not to minimize anyone's experiences, but I think it gets a little bit excessive. And people will see these environments and they'll think, oh, these are very masculine, very, you know, these guys beat each other for a living, so that they might think it's toxic masculinity or something, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. No one's ever told me I can't. None of these guys have ever told me I can't. Mm-hmm. Ever. It's never even been a question. It's like, sure, you come in, they respect you, you're doing it, there's no problem. You're going to get more weirdos at a regular gym.
Yeah, I agree. Like
1,000,000%.
Yeah, I've met up.
Those guys are athletes. They respect you. You're there. You're training. There's absolutely no problem. And like Mario Sperry, like Mario won Pride 7 times. You know, like before the UFC, they had the Vale Tudo. Anything. This is bare knuckle MMA, 10-minute rounds. Like it's crazy. He won that 7 times. He's in the ADCC Hall of Fame. Like he's doing all this crazy stuff.
What's the guy's name? Nagaro. What's the guy's name?
Nagaro. Yeah.
So it was Nagaro, Daniel, and then my guy Ricardo.
Oh, super cool.
Yeah, I had a picture of it.
Super cool. Is this Ricardo Resende?
Ricardo. Oh man, I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, so these super tough guys who've done all these, you know, crazy masculine things like Mario. Never. I'm there. I'm the only girl. I don't, you listen, I'm treated like everybody else. It's great. I go in there and he laughs. He's like, oh, I throw her in with the animals. It's like survival. She has to survive like Darwin.
And you love it.
I love it. It's great.
Everyone says they love it. I have a good friend. His name's Brian Cohen. If you ever go up to Palm Beach, you'll see billboards like Cohen & Cohen. He has a commercial real estate brokerage. He does a lot of retail, shopping centers and stuff like that. And he's been doing jiu-jitsu forever.
Oh, it's super fun.
And competing and everything like that. And he's like a small Jewish guy, but
good for him.
Tough
Whatever.
as heck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
with
super
the ears
fun.
and all that.
Oh, I'm wearing headgear now.
Is that what you, yeah?
My ear got
Is that
dinged
an option?
like, oh man, my ear got
Do
dinged
people
like
make fun of you
ago.
with the headgear?
No, because, well,
Man, you don't care probably.
I don't care. Yeah. I'll be like, I'm like the special kid in the bus. No, but I got my ear got dinged like 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And I was like, I was training twice a day and it was like sore and I ignored it because it was stupid. I ignored it. And then I realized it was like swelling. Oh my God, I can't get cauliflower ear. That's ridiculous. I can't make that look work. And so my friend actually had to drain my ear. I swear. And I'm sitting there and I'm like questioning my life. I'm like, I can't. And I was being interviewed by some financial publication. Like, I'm like, I can't have cauliflower ear. And so like he drains my ear. And then Mario was like, Anna, I've been telling you for months. He was like, I used to wear headgear. You can wear headgear. And I'm like, okay. And so now I have headgear just for rolling, for drilling. It's okay. Yeah.
So you wear it not for drills or whatever? You don't have to wear it for drills?
Nah, just for rolling.
And what about gi and no gi?
Yeah, both.
You do both?
Yeah.
Do you prefer one or the other?
No. It's like with the guys in the MMA guys, they do no gi. It's grappling. But then we do a lot of gi too. I do a lot of gi.
So when they have no gi, it's more called grappling?
It's grappling. It's like jiu-jitsu rules, but if you see grappling, that means no gi jiu-jitsu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So it's just jiu-jitsu rules as opposed to wrestling rules. So I think I'm not a wrestler, but I believe in wrestling, like, you know, your back's on the ground, like you're out. It's like, oh, there's no bottom game. But no gi jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu rules, just no.
How did you find the Mario Sperry gym? Oh, that's right. I heard you were your coach from the track.
No, it was a boxing coach. Do you know Spencer of History Gym? So all the guys there, I would run with all the fighters and do all this conditioning stuff with them. And then Dino, jiu-jitsu is his hobby. He loves jiu-jitsu. He just loves it. And we have mats under the boxing ring, and he'll put them on the ring, and some guys will come teach. You could do like pop-up jiu-jitsu, whatever. So for a year, he was telling me, this is your sport. You got to do this. Dino was telling me for a year, and I was running Masters Track. I was like, no, I want to, you know, I'm training for the 200 at Masters Worlds. Like, I gotta do this. And I love to train and compete. I didn't love track because I like the opponent aspect, like from fencing. I like opponent sports more. But I was like so into it, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna train. I can win. Like I wanna do this. And he was trying to convince me. Then I had like a small stupid ankle injury, nothing terrible, but I couldn't sprint. And they're like, okay, now. So they put like math, and I did like jiu-jitsu at the gym for 2 weeks. And I was like, wow, you guys are right. This is awesome.
Were you taking boxing?
Well, no, I would do mitt stuff with some of the people, especially some girl fighters were in there. I would do mitt work with them and things like that. But I really don't want to get hit in the face or punch anyone. Like, I don't like hurting people. And so having to like hit someone hard in the face to damage them disturbs me. Like I don't want to do that.
Right. I agree.
I've like light sparred with girls. Yeah. Because I move pretty well. And
it's not so good for you anyway.
And
it
just doesn't appeal to me. I mean, girls don't hit as hard, so like, you're going to be okay. You know, women don't really get, because the skull is like fairly similar and men hit so much harder. So men are going to get more damaged. But
so you feel less impact with the grappling or the jiu-jitsu?
On your head. You don't get hit in the head.
Yeah.
You can get, by accident, maybe get kneed once or twice, but that's not terrible. No one's actually, trying to punch or kick you in the head. It's, yeah. You get like, I mean, you can get like your joints stuff. I mean, stuff happens, but it's fun.
And what made you get into the track? We used to live in the Mirador.
Okay.
So yeah, I saw you a few times.
I used to live on the track.
In Whole Foods.
Okay.
We used to live at Whole Foods.
Yeah. Because I'd always go to the track stop by there. Yeah. Well, I met a bunch of guys at the track who were training, like who ran Masters track, and I'd never sprinted before in my life, and it was kind of like.
So you were just there casually working out.
Yeah, I was always doing sports stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like years ago, and one of them was like, "Oh, like let me time you." I didn't know anything about track times. Like I didn't know anything. I barely knew like what the distances were. And they timed me, and they're like, "Oh, like good job. You should come train with us." And so I started training with these guys, and it kind of went from there.
How long of the training did you have to put in before you actually, because you competed, right?
Yeah.
And you did well.
Yeah.
What was the ramp up?
The first year I didn't train really that much. The first year that I competed, it was like.
So you went right into competing?
Yeah,
because like he was like, you got these splits.
Well, no, because
you're competing.
Yeah, because the season is what it is. Yeah, but track. So sprinting is such a physical sport. There's like little, like you don't draft. Obviously, there's strategy and technique, but you don't like run laps. There's no drafting. Like you stay in your lane, and it's how fast can you move your butt from point A to point B. So there's a huge athletic advantage in track, more than. Even more, jiu-jitsu, power and speed is definitely a thing, but there's so much technique and strategy and opponent stuff to learn that there's a learning curve that's steeper, I would say.
In sprinting?
No, in jiu-jitsu.
On jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Steeper learning curve.
Because there's an opponent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
but you can train that move over and over and over again, though?
Yeah, but it's going to be different every time you do it because the opponent.
Oh, and they're thinking, she's going to do this, I'm going to do this.
Well, every opponent is slightly different size, body shape, they're reacting differently, all that stuff. Whereas sprinting, so much of it is, especially it's efficiency of motion, how you hit the ground, all these little technique things, but it's just you and you.
Right.
And you're on the track, there's no opponent. And so really amazing sprinters, they have a very, very efficient stride, like down to an art, like it's like a science, and it's the same each and every time where it should be.
Yeah, like a machine.
Yes, exactly right.
Wow, interesting.
But
have you ever, we got into, so I know that you were doing the track pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Right? I started doing triathlons with the Miami Tri Club and pre-COVID, and then kind of like during the first year of COVID, unfortunately, fortunately that it took up a lot of time and it was fun, I met a lot of great people, motivational people, great, like probably like your track crew, very motivational, you know what I mean? They make you, they drive you, right? You're there. And, but unfortunately, with the triathlons, that they just shut everything down for COVID, and there was no races. And unfortunately, But have you ever done triathlons? Like you seem like you would. No, why?
No, I don't like long repetitive things.
Endurance.
At all, like at all.
Really?
I don't even like the 400. Yeah, no, I don't like the same repetitive. Okay, it's a good question. So I'm in my.
It's almost like because you're such a competitive person and strong-minded.
So, okay, that's actually a good question. So the repetitive stuff where it's like you're swimming or whatever it is, running for long periods of time, it actually, like, 'cause I'm in my head so much with what I do, I'm always thinking about things that I'm working or thinking on, whatever it is, that if I'm by myself doing repetitive motion for long periods of time, it actually makes me mentally tired because it gets my head back into what I'm doing.
But you know what? What do you mean?
Like, my head, my mind.
Because you'll go through the stuff you're thinking.
Yeah, it can't not.
No, that'll run out. And then you become in that nice space.
I've never got it.
You can't meditate, huh?
I'm really bad at it. So jujitsu is my meditation.
Yeah.
So like when you're rolling, like when you're doing something like that with an opponent, like you're forced to be there. You're 1000%
you like to focus.
Present. Well, no, it's like when you're in something like that where it's fast and you're moving with somebody, right? You have to be there. You can't be anywhere else. If you're not there for half a second, you could get hurt. Actually, you could get hurt. You'll certainly you'll lose, whatever that means in practice. But it's not good. Like you have to be there. So you get into this flow state actually because you're there. you can't be anywhere else. And that actually is super meditative for me, because you go in there, you train, and especially when you train with professional athletes, that's not Equinox, that's their job. So no one goes in there and talks bullshit about their day or anything. No, you can't introduce negativity. Like,
no, that's how the tri group was.
So it's like, yeah. So it's like you're in there, you're training, and then there's a focus, and it's, it's just, it clears your head for me much more than being by myself doing repetitive motion. It's just, you're so in it that you have to be present. And any like...
Well, if you quit swimming, you drown. So you got to be in it too.
No, I know. But it's like the mind can like, it's just, it doesn't work for me. It makes my mind more tired. That's what I find too. That whenever I would go, like I have many friends who are triathletes, and they convince me to go on longer runs sometimes. Yeah. And oh man, 5 miles for me is like a nightmare.
You hate it.
I hate it so much. I get like, it makes my mind tired. Whereas if whereas if I do, and plus like that's not genetically where I'm at. If I was going to compete in track and field, that's not. Those aren't my races. If I'm competing to win, it's for 400 meters and below. It's just it is what it is. It's just fast twitch. One time around, I'm done. Fast twitch, muscle, whatever it is. I'm not. I'm never going to be a world class mile runner, but I could run a very good 200. So it's just different. But and that just physical aspect. But mentally, I don't even like it for fun. Like I dislike it because it makes me mentally tired. But it's like when you're there and like you have a 5-minute roll with somebody and it's like go, you're in it so 1,000% that it actually like it like cleanses your mind of anything else that you were working on.
Yeah, interesting.
Because you have to feel you have to be there. You have to feel the opponent. You can't go for a second.
Surfing's kind of like that.
Probably, because you have the waves coming and it's all out of your control. It's like an opponent.
You're immediately in it.
Yeah, like you're in it. Yep. You don't know what the next second's going to be. That's what it is. Because you're not the one. You're not just taking a repetitive step on a set path.
Yeah, you're completely focused. Yeah, I never thought about that.
Actually, Mario Sperry loves to surf.
Really?
Yes. A lot of those jiu-jitsu guys surf.
Well, yeah, the Brazilians.
Yeah, he's Brazilian, and he loves. Waves. He has pictures of himself in these like huge big waves. Oh, I'm
really?
asking today about that analogy.
He's just like.
Yeah.
Big though. He's a nice guy.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, I guess when you're that.
And he puts up with me every day. God bless him. I come in there.
I bet he's super humble.
Do what he does. He's super humble. It's great. Do what it is. Like you walk into any combat gym or boxing gym, whatever it is, you're gonna see every little boy walking in like he's a tough guy. But like the real tough guys, like the real killers, no, they're chill.
But I mean, I was watching Joe Rogan the other day, and he had a younger jiu-jitsu gentleman on there. I guess is like the best in the world. Did you see that?
No.
Did you watch Joe Rogan?
I do sometimes, yeah.
I forget his name though, but the guy's I think he competes at like 130.
Oh, little guy.
125. Yeah, okay. Little guy. And but man, he's tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, you never seen this guy? He only eats pizza and pasta
no,
for dinner.
I don't know. It's great.
Crazy diet, and it works for him. And he's like, world champion over and over again.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. So the track is done?
Yeah.
Done.
Oh, it's so done.
Really?
Yeah.
Just bad ankle, and I'm not gonna do it again.
No, I just love this so much more.
And that now, but you still go and do some like, is it just rolling, grappling? I mean, you don't do any weights, or is there a gym portion of it, or is there?
I don't lift so much, honestly. I just do body resistance stuff, and then I'll still do track with some. I have some guys that I run with when they're in camp, so I still run with them.
What does that mean, run with though?
What do you
mean? Does that
mean?
Like you're doing like sprints, or you're doing
like track interval stuff, like round simulation, or like run the straight, walk the curve, stuff like that, like track workouts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
but to compete now, I'm like I love this jiu-jitsu stuff so much.
Did you compete in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How much time more do you need to train to compete for your first one?
I mean, I could have until now. I've just been busy in there. The schedules didn't work, but we're gonna do one in September. It's gonna be fun. And then I train, so we laugh so much because I just train with dudes, and they're all laughing. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna get girls your own size now."
Have you ever trained with a woman? Like, have you rolled with someone like your size and felt that against you?
Yeah, it's so different.
I wonder if it throws you though.
No, it's just
You're like, oh, this is weird.
It's a funny thing. So we have one amazing woman who came to the gym recently, about like a month ago, and I was telling Mario, I'm like, Mario, come on, we're the tough girls. We're the tough girls. She's amazing. She's from Brazil, like 4-time world champion MMA fighter, about an inch taller than me, but maybe weighs a little bit more than me. And she's amazing. She's a beast. I mean that as a compliment. I tell her that she's awesome. So she's the first one, an amazing woman. We become friends. So she's the first one that I've rolled with who like is real. The other ones just Mario is always like, go easy. They're women. And I'm like, so am I. I laugh at him. We have like comedy hour. It's funny. His favorite is when he gives me like and my guys all know me, but my girl pass is gone. But the guys who don't know me, I'll get a new guy, and Mario will walk up to him. He'll be like, man, you got a problem on your hands. Don't go easy on her. You'll regret it. And the guys look at him because they're all like, like sensei. They're very respectful to him, everything. And they're like, is he kidding?
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a little sarcasm in there?
No, there's not.
How tall are you?
5'10".
Yeah.
He loves it. He just sits there and he's like, I told you.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, if I'm a guy and the sensei said, you would have to be like,
And the worst is they don't want to tap to me.
What's going on here?
They don't want the ego stuff. They don't want to tap to the girl. I put a guy to sleep a few months ago training.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
That was terrible.
No, I would be like fast tapping.
The guy didn't want to tap. It was a joke. And I'm like, seriously? And I couldn't see his face because it was from behind,
He was
right?
blue.
No, he passed out. They had to lift his legs up, everything. He was out. And I'm like, man, these are practice rounds. You tap, you reset. No one sees. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
This is like not a big deal unless you make it one. It's so odd. And I went up to Mariah and I'm like, what do I do? These guys don't want to tap to me. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And he goes, just put him to sleep.
Wow. You're going to do well.
It's so funny. Like,
now, you tap, obviously. Have you been put to sleep? Or you just
no,
tap?
because I tap. If someone's going to choke me, I'm going to tap before I get past. I mean, you're not supposed to get put to sleep in practice. That's like, that shouldn't happen.
Some people are, they want to be put to sleep or whatever like that. Or?
That's a whole separate genre of kinkiness. I don't know what that is. On that topic, I got to tell you, I know all these guys like legends of combat sports, many who like, it's so funny, there's a little theme here. They're like, oh, you're training jiu-jitsu now, like choke me. And my friend, she's like, you're at a party. She's like, you're in a dress and heels. She's like, I don't think this is training anymore. And I'm like, you're right. Like,
Hilarious. So we were in New York, went to school, Columbia, math, physics. I applaud you for going, even though you didn't like it. And I guess that gives you some kind of values and you were succeeded in something. You took on a task, 4 years.
I didn't graduate.
Discipline. Oh, you didn't graduate?
No, I left after my junior year.
That's
when I stopped talking to my parents.
There it was, huh? They were like, we spent this money on you and you're not going to finish? Or
maybe
I'm just
They
assuming.
did, and I didn't. Yeah. And I was taking like graduate level physics class. Yeah, no, I was a little crazy.
Were you a partier or were you?
Not at all. I've never been a partier. I don't like randomly socialize. I don't know.
That's not clear on your social. Because you look like you
you
go to all
though.
these cool places. Like you're at an art.
That's my friend's gallery. I go to friends' things.
Future Mayor or wherever.
He's my friend.
Yeah, of course. I understand. But when you say I don't go anywhere, it seems
No, I mean, like, I don't randomly socialize. Like, at all. I dislike it. I don't go to, like, parties or... I've been in Miami 10 years. I think I've been to a nightclub twice, and it was because I had to for a birthday party. Like, it's not my thing. I don't like random groups of... No, so especially...
Is that a controlling thing?
No, I just don't...
Like more of a controlling atmosphere?
I just get nothing out of it. And I always have stuff to do. Like, I'm super busy, and I always have stuff to do. And then it's like, I don't want to be in this loud room full of weirdos. Like, that's it. Like,
I don't want to be that anymore. I did be in that area, but not anymore.
No.
So you left 11.
So no, I didn't party. No, I trained a lot. I was a pretty boring kid, actually. And that's also when I quit fencing. But no, it's like school. Like, I didn't try to get into college. Like, I truly disliked school. I took my SATs cold, like completely 100% cold. Like, I didn't study for anything. And it was, when I was very young, because I didn't know anything, I was 17 when I started college, I was like, oh, I'll get a PhD or something. Why did I even say that? Who knows? I don't even know what that meant. Like, you don't know anything. And then I did research 2 summers because I stayed on campus, and I was like, wow, like, academia is really horrible. I hate bureaucracies. I hate academia. I don't want any part of this whatsoever. None. And I was like, all right, so now what do I want to do with this? And that's when all these people were these jobs.
That came in 11th grade? Like this conversation with
like
yourself.
junior year or so.
Like,
yeah, because I did reach
junior.
reach that past summer, and I was like, I don't want to be in academia at all. Like, this is kind of horrifying. It's so bureaucratic and weird, and just, no. And then it started being all these like job fairs, and people are planning where they want to work and all those things. And I was just looking at it all, and I was like, oh my God, this is all some structured hamster wheel. It's like worse than school. I don't want any part of this whatsoever.
So it's just creating anxiety to you.
Yeah, I wanted like not. I didn't want it in that. I didn't want it in that path at all. Like, I've never worked for anyone. I've never wanted it, and it was just like, why am I here? And the only things that I liked. So I had a few really, one in particular really cool professor. It was a special relativity class. So I had a bunch of special relativity and like what's it called, like modern geometry. It's called like space-time physics. And he was a really cool dude. He was like 86. We were the only class. And he was like the seminal figure of modern special relativity. Whatever, it was his genius. It was like me and like the 6 guys in this class. And he would.
That's
like,
your jam, though.
It was great. He would like do all this like crazy abstract. He would walk into class like barefoot and bring us like tea and cookies. He was the coolest old dude. And he would do all this like tensor calculus, all this stuff on the board. He would write it up, and then he'd be like, "Isn't this beautiful?" Like, it was great. He would give us tests, and he'd be like, "Create amongst yourselves," because it was all like. I mean, it was just like, you just make stuff up. It was so cool. But people like that.
Was it his passion that was
yeah,
in it?
and he was such a genius. And people like that, like, they teach you how to think, and they also do it as like this guy was such an uber genius, and he had no ego. It's like people who are really, really, really good at what they do. They know that they know nothing. And then you get some other guy who's like a nobody, some like econ or English professor who's basically a bureaucrat acting like they're super fancy and super important. Oh, did you attend class or whatever. And then this guy who was a foundational figure of modern physics is the complete opposite. And they teach you how to think, which is one of the main takeaways that of school I had was people like that. Because when you write really abstract proofs or whatever it is, right, you start with a question that he asks you that he's totally made up. There's no, who knows? There's like 6 people in the room. Everyone's gonna have a different answer. No one's right. What is right? We don't know what right is anyway. And so you have to start off by defining your space, creating logic, basically. You have this whole abstract problem, n-dimensional abstract problem, and you have to start with some logic and build your case and extrapolate out. And it teaches you how to think and how to have confidence in your own conclusions. Because if you can trust your own stream of logic, then that's all you need. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. And those were, but you take that from a place of humility, recognize that you could be wrong, that there's kind of a duality there, because that guy didn't have a big ego problem. But that was one of the most valuable things that I took away from all those years I wasted in school was a few people like that. The rest of them, not so much, but the guys like that's special, because that's like someone who's as good at using his mind as the big sports figures are at what they do.
Yeah, and it seems like that's the guys that you're attracted to. Not attracted.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Because that someone who's very intelligent or passionate about what they're into and rise to a certain level, but then also humble and can stand away from it and be right or wrong, right?
To be truly great, you have to be humble. Because to be truly great, you've gone to that place where you see that you're nothing. But I mean that from a liberating way. Like you take the whole perspective of humanity or whatever it is, and you realize you're just this little speck, and like, what do you know? And it's a humbling thing, and that actually gives you freedom to create and to be. Like, I'm friends with a very good friend of mine is a developer, and he builds stuff whatever all around the world, a self-made guy. And we took this bike ride up South Beach, and he's probably 70 right now, how old he is, and we're looking over at the sun rising above the horizon. And he looks at it and he says, whatever your religion is, whatever anybody is, he says, you see the sun coming up over the ocean, and you think anything we do on this earth has any magnitude or significance. This is the guy who's built skyscrapers around the world, right?
Yeah.
But that's what gives him the freedom to do that, is because you recognize in the context of the greater universe, it's not a big deal. Like, if you think it's a big deal, you can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I try to explain to him all the time is that, in especially with just doing things, right? And putting a podcast, talking to people, communicating with people. I never wanted to be a professor. They came to me and asked me, because I went to hospitality school. I should have went to finance school, but I went to hospitality school, and I was always like, where's the real estate classes? I'm like, hospitality is real estate. It's brick and mortar. Like, and then they finally made the bridge of the real estate school and the hospitality school, and they called me and said, hey man, this is right for you. Come in. I'm like, I'm flattered, and thanks for, I see like my professors and people sitting there. I'm like, this is great. I'm not your guy. I'm like, I never wanted to do this. And they just kept saying, they kept looking at me like, yes, this is yours. And now I'm doing that. But but the point is that you just go ahead and do it because of what you're saying. It's like, what's the limitation? You're your limitation.
Always.
You know, and if that guy who can enjoy a sunset and also build a skyscraper, why can't I do it? Or why can't you do it? Or why can't you do it? Or why can't, you know what I mean?
No one gave it to him. He created it.
Yeah.
He was just a guy.
He went after it and did it.
Correct.
I see all these people raising money and doing funds and everything, right? So I said to my family, I said, I want to do that. I'm like, I think I can put it together a fund. I was actually reading an article in Miami-Dade College. Some professors over there, they have a financial class, and they got a $50,000 donation, and they actually set up like a cryptocurrency so the students can trade, right? And so through TradeStation, and there's, you know, sponsors and everything like that. And I thought, man, I would love to set up something like that with college, with FIU, because I'm associated with them, right? As like an incubator for real estate, and try to crowdfund off that, and just be like transparent with the students on like, okay, this is how it works. These is, you know, the securities lawyers that you need. This is the accountant that you need. These are the sponsors. These are the LPs. This is how it works. This is how you find it, you know, and on a smaller, you know, if you bought, I mean, here in Miami, a duplex is like $450,000, $500,000, but that's not a huge down payment. Mm-hmm. So that's not a huge capital raise, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And I was telling them one night, I was like, just thinking of it out loud, I'm like, I can do that. Yeah. Like, I just got to find the right people to put together and connect it and do it. And then I go, and then I can scale it. Yep. And then I can do it for real. Exactly. You know? And so I completely agree with what you're saying of like limitations, and you only limit yourself. And my assistant was asking me one day, he's like, why do you get up so early and go to the gym? I'm like, because I want to be that guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just think about, oh, I wish I need to get in shape. Right? No, you want to be that. Yeah, I want to be it and being it, you know, and then set a good example for my son. And, exactly. You know, and so I definitely, where do you think that came from, of you thinking like we can do whatever we want, or our limits are only ourselves, or what do you think you learned that? That's been like an ongoing mental process. I think that when I basically had to figure out how to kind of live and be on my own, and figure out what I wanted life to look like. So Columbia, junior year. Yep. Mom, Dad, this is it for me. Kind of. We're gonna cut our ways with Columbia, with New York, with you too. Yeah. I love you, but we're gonna do this. It wasn't so good up until that point, but we'll leave it at that, right? So the writing was on the wall. But you went back to the motherland, or Serbia? No. In Zurich? No. I stayed in New York. Stayed in New York. For how long did you stay in New York? Oh, until I was about 27 or so. What were you doing at that time? Like when you quit Columbia? Yeah, you know, like different things. That was the early thousands, and so that was the like early internet days. Really, it wasn't long ago, but it was. And then a lot of people needed, so like 02, 03, or that was like 2000. Okay. Yeah, and so a lot of people, 2001, about there. And so a lot of people, businesses, people just were really clueless, and they needed help with getting themselves online, getting their business online, all that stuff. So I did a lot of like early stage work of getting people online, or doing stuff with early stage. I mean, I can do a lot of programming too, and internet stuff, and whatever it is. So I just kind of did project-based stuff like that for a while. Interesting. All different. Where were you on September 11th? Where was I September 11th? On the Upper West Side. Yeah, on the Upper West Side. Did it affect you, or did it affect what was going on in your life at that time, or maybe not? Not so much. I mean, not so much. I didn't have anyone that was close to me that was, thank God, directly. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I remember it was an upheaval time, but no, directly not so much. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you stayed there, you helped people, but did you leave? So when did we come to Miami? Oh, 10 years ago. And how does that, from New York to Miami, or no? Because I heard you saying I was in Zurich on and off for a bit. And then it was... what goes on there, except for you have family there, right? Or no, I don't have any family in Zurich. Yeah. My family, besides my parents, are all in Belgrade. Okay. Yeah. So, no, it was in Zurich on and off. How did you like that? Like, cool? The Swiss, it's very fascinating. The Swiss are so interesting, how they've remained sort of separate. They've inoculated themselves from the world in a lot of ways, which is interesting. It's not 1,000% my vibe, but it's very interesting. And what's the temperature and it's like clothing. A New York climate, actually. Yeah, like summer, winter. It's very similar to New York. It's a more pleasant winter because they just do winter better. But and the people, the vibe of people, is kind of the same thing. Big city, no. So no.
No, that's why it's so bizarre. Like it's a very they have a very high level of sophistication for a very low population, and kind of it's like a highly sophisticated people living within a medieval looking world. It's super cool in that in that regard. And then Zurich, the Zurich area, that's the biggest city, but Zurich proper is only about 250,000 people. Like it's nothing. Wow. And that's the biggest city. And then what's it called? The other one, Geneva, is the second biggest, and it's smaller. It's like 200,000. It's tiny. Like, and the larger Zurich area is like just over 1 million people. Like
and everyone works in finance. That's
no, actually, no. Finance isn't even the largest industry.
Geneva or whatever.
Yeah, no, the Geneva is where the UN is. No. It's well, Zurich also is heavily German. There are a lot of Germans in Zurich, which they're different.
So what was your fascination? Why'd you skip over there?
It was kind of an experiment.
I heard you say that. What does that mean to you when you say that, to an experiment? That's how you say, like, I'm going to
Miami
travel?
was an experiment too.
Yeah.
And then I ended up staying. Miami was like a 6-month experiment. And then I ended up just not leaving. Miami's awesome.
Yeah. Why real estate?
Yeah, good question. So when I was in Miami, it was for 6 months. So I stayed or not, and then I decided to stay. And then I started to learn a lot about the city and people who were involved in the city, meeting people and so forth. And I think perhaps it was actually the contrast of having spent a bunch of time in Zurich right before, where Zurich is so old. I mean, New York is much older than Miami as well, but Zurich is really old. I mean, there are the little stores there that would sell these really cool detailed drawings of the city from different vantage points, and they're all dated. And you had to go back like 250 years to see a difference. I mean, it's the same. And here you come, and the skyline, like nothing was here 20 years. 100 years ago, there was quite literally nothing. And then 20 years ago, it was drastically different. And so it was kind of that contrast perhaps was on my mind as well. And I was thinking, wow, this is like the early days of a city. And I kind of feel even then that it was going to keep growing at a sort of tremendous clip. And I felt like it was even then sort of like that it was going to emerge into more than what it was now. And that's very much connected to real estate, because real estate is what builds it. It's the skyline. It's all that stuff. And I started meeting people who build the buildings, all those things. And it was kind of like one gradual thing after another.
Yeah, Miami is so young that I tell you that I worked on a building that Henry Flagler's office was in, right? It's on Flagler Street, of course. Henry Flagler being one of the pioneers, right? He built the train to basically bring people here and how the development was created. His office is still how he had it.
Oh, how cool.
So Manna owns the building.
Yeah.
And the people that have leased that office, it's like the penthouse office. You look straight down Flagler Street, have been like other law firms and such like that. So it kind of odes to that old wood and things, big chandelier in it. But it's exactly how Henry Flagler had it when he occupied the space. But that just goes to what you're saying, is that Miami is so young.
No, it's like yesterday.
It's crazy.
Yes.
When you say one of the guys that pioneered Miami, his office is still intact, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, because it wasn't 1500. That's why, and it wasn't 1800 either. Exactly.
So, yeah, I guess so. Did you like real estate? Did you have any like pushback, or did you immediately just take to it and you're like, oh, I'm a people person, I can go after it, I'm competitive?
Yeah, it just kind of flowed.
And then how were you into the data first, or did the real estate come? Because a lot
kind of together.
Bro, not that many. I mean, you're with Douglas Elliman, right?
Oh, just so briefly.
Oh, you're not with him anymore?
No, that's funny. Yeah, that was just for a few months years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a couple firms that have data, right? But not many like realtors or brokers even look at data.
No, I know that.
Yeah. So how did you get it? Like, what was your fascination with data?
I kind of can't help myself, because that's what I do for myself to try to understand the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what gravitated you to that? I mean, like.
Oh, because I want to get real estate, and I was like, I wanted to understand the market, and so I would just download raw data and chart it and look at it and try to see just for myself, because I wanted to know what was going on with the market just my own compulsion before I talked to anyone else about it.
So just to be a little bit more sophisticated about the market.
Just how to understand it.
A little more leveled up than the other person, or
honestly,
set
I'm
yourself
not even
apart?
thinking about other people or any of that.
Really?
That's just that's just how I felt I needed to. That's how I educated myself, because I didn't. It's just what I do. It's going back to like writing a proof kind of thing, right? I don't feel comfortable talking about a space unless I feel like I know what's happening in it, and that's what I do. I take all the data I have, I chart it. I know,
that, right?
But like I'm such a weirdo. That's like
that's great. I'm complimenting you, because there's so many brokers out there that will just BS the whole thing, right? And
No,
try
I
to
know,
sell
I know.
a dream rather than selling.
Which works, by the way. Nothing
Which
wrong with
works,
it either.
yeah, and to them, right?
Yeah.
But sell the dream with some fundamentals behind it, and then it's a more solid, sale or what have you.
But truly, it started off as me, like, before I even published anything in terms of reports. Before I published anything, I would do the same thing for myself. And there's a lot that I don't publish that I do for myself, because that's how I see what's happening. Especially when I talk about trends or make predictions, whatever you want to call them. You have to have a feel for directionality, and directionality is something that comes from an interplay of many variables, momentum, and all those things. And to get any sort of idea of where space is going or anything is going, you have to have a grasp on where we are with forces coming in, boundary conditions, whatever. Like, you need to see all the data in front of you, or else what are you talking about? You're making it up.
Yeah, you're speaking to the choir. That's all we do is look at data.
Exactly.
What about hospitality? Do you just look at the data from STR, or what kind of data are you looking with that?
Depends what it is.
Yeah.
Those are kind of case by case. Yep.
And what about this whole land assemblage that you got going on?
I have a land assemblage going on?
I don't know. That's what you said.
No.
Talking to you said there's some working on some land assemblage thing or something like that, or
no.
No,
that's
what
not.
You said again when I don't remember the gentleman's name in the last interview that I was listening about.
Land assemblage.
Maybe I heard it wrong or something.
No, I'm pretty sure no.
Yeah. What are you working on right now? Like, what's in the pipeline? What are you focused on, or what do you want to achieve in real estate?
Oh, all sorts of things.
I'll take one.
So no, we'll take one. Okay, so we're doing a few fun things. They're going to be out shortly. So Analytics Miami is where I publish research, basically, and that's going to remain as such. And it's kind of intentionally not overtly commercial.
Do you make money at that, or is that
No.
just something that you do and post, and then obviously it helps you in your career?
Yeah. So directly, I don't sell it. No, but it is part of how people know me and who I am and all of that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that remains as such. I put up reports, larger reports quarterly, some stuff monthly. So all that stuff is going to remain there. And then we have sort of two separate kind of things that are happening right now. One is going to be out in a week or two. It's called MiamiDealSheet.com. So basically, there's this whole thesis on how the world has just begun to discover how awesome we are, and the flow of people and money has just begun, like we've been saying. And so I'm in the financial press quite a bit, commenting on Resi because I put out these Resi reports there and so forth. And so I'll get people reach out to me and they'll be like, hey, like, I'm buying a house. Can you guys help me? And so, like, case by case, it depends, yes or no, whatever, right? It's like a haphazard mousetrap, and I pick whoever, if they appeal to me, whoever contacts me. Right. So unless you pick, and so anyways, so I said, okay, cool. We're gonna systematize that mousetrap along with the thesis, and then just create a systematized mousetrap for Resi, and also launch something, doing a show. It's gonna be called Ask Anna. So it's gonna be called MiamiDealSheet.com. It's gonna be me picking the best deals we're going to do for Resi. It does have to be, but mostly Resi. And then we're also going to do like new construction projects because I'm friends with most of those guys. We're going to do fun coverage from there. And then it's like a 2-week cycle. Week 1, here are the best deals. And then week 2, we're going to have a show. We're going to have like real estate figures and or sports guys, people I train with, fun stuff coming on.
So basically your own podcast.
Yeah.
Are you going to produce it, or are you doing it with somebody? Or?
No, I'm going to do it with somebody. Yeah, working that out. And so the premise of that is we're going to systematize the mousetrap for Resi deals. We're going to just take 3 buyers a month because it's enough. 3 buyers a month off of that, and then just alternate cycle. Yeah, have that as the sort of the traffic to also launch the show on that. And then also I have something called liquiditysolutions.org. I have it's like a private pool of capital that we've sort of allocated for either hospitality or any type of strategic investing or lending as the world
Speak
continues
to that a little
shift.
more without saying exactly what is that? So you've got private equity.
Yep.
Is that in a fund, or is that in like an evergreen fund that's always open, or is that like a syndication, or
No, it's just it's a lot of private money.
Just friends and family, or
Kind of, yeah.
colleagues, or
Friends,
what have you.
yes.
Yeah, friends.
Yeah.
And
I worked with for a long time, yeah.
So no, this is interesting because what I said to
Okay.
you about. So does that mean they say, hey, here I have 5,000, 10,000, 25, 100,000, whatever it is, their allocation, and it's in escrow, or it's in somewhere where they're like, tell us if you see something and we'll chip in or something like that. How does it play out?
Oh, okay. So no, basically we have it's called liquidity. We have a whole bunch of liquidity that is always there, sitting there at the minimum threshold. It's about $300 million right now that we can
super liquid.
Super liquid. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's to build, or to, let's say
Usually
there's
not to
a
build.
multifamily thing that's
usually not to
value
build.
add, or
Usually not to build.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great position.
So it could be
to
hard
in.
money lending, or it could be like a hospitality.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So they do the hard money.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something that's gonna do good right now.
Yeah,
Hard
because
money lending.
we're going to see some fun stuff happening with mezz debt and raising interest rates. And yep.
As long as the hard money lenders and the private lenders, as long as they don't increase their rate. I mean, I think they could be super competitive if they just kept their rates where they are right now, like let's say 8 to 10%, right? And then as that, regular bank interest rates or whatever, regular debt out there, if they can just totally compete with that, they can make so much money on the short term.
Yep.
Yeah, I joined a real estate investment club up in Fort Pierce just to get around like-minded people and see what's going on. A bunch of flippers and stuff up there, and hard money lenders.
Yeah,
they're talking about that.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
that question. I was like, I hope you guys don't raise your prices just to get greedy. Like, you should just take the whole market. I don't know. It's interesting though. It's interesting to see what's going to happen in the next 24, 36 months.
It's very interesting to happen in the next 5 to 10 years with the emergence of other global currencies. Yeah, it's going to be very fascinating.
So let me see.
And then with the show, my goal with the show actually that we're gonna put on Deal Sheet, just things. Yeah. So basically, Deal Sheet I was going to do anyway, and then I was like, cool, we'll put the show there just to piggyback off of traffic and everything else, because I want to get people on the show who are creators, like inspiring figures who are the best at what they do, because I think it's so important to show people. But also I talk about examples, right? Like words don't teach. Words are like whatever, but if you could actually see the person and see what they've done, that could trigger something in somebody's mind. It shows them that it's possible.
Yeah,
because no one gave these people anything, and they've come from whatever they've come from, and they've done something.
I love those stories.
Yeah, 1,000%, and it's fun.
Right.
Yeah.
The ones that just challenge through it.
Yeah. And all these people are coming to Florida because we're the place to be. Everyone's coming down here. That's it.
What's your greatest achievement so far?
Ooh.
Think about it.
That's a tough one. That's a very tough one because
So far. You're young.
See, I don't even look at. I would just say being a good person.
That's That's great though. You know what I mean? Because so many people are out there bitter. Mad, or are unhappy with their job, or maybe they like their job and they're just like unhappy about their position.
That's how I approach everything.
So
if you're not a good person, then what are you here for?
Yeah.
Just how are you spending your time? Like all we own is our time. And that's almost even from a selfish way. It's not like you're just trying to be this super do-gooder, but why would you want to spend your own time in a way that's negative?
I heard you say that, and I love that. Because, you're born happy.
Yeah.
And we just cover it up and cover it up and cover it up until you hit therapy. Exactly. And then they try to unwind it.
Give you drugs or
and then
something.
You found out, I can be happy
Exactly.
Myself. And like you said, why not live your life happy in the present that we're in? Because we only have this moment where we're spending together right now.
Yep.
Right? We don't know what's going to happen 5 minutes, or in the past. It doesn't even matter. How about, are you a book person?
Yeah.
What's the most important book you've read?
Oh, that I read? Well, I keep...
or a cool book that you've read
I keep
recently.
Marcus Aurelius on my table all the time. Meditations.
Okay. Meditations?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why? You're intrigued by meditation? Well, what's the book? I don't know the book.
Marcus Aurelius?
I know the name.
He's the Roman emperor, so he has all these great Stoic-inspired quotes on life and how to approach life.
Oh, okay.
And it's just a good brain reset.
Sure.
Because it puts everything in perspective, so I read those a lot.
Music?
I listen to all different types of music.
Just depending on your mood, probably. Favorite place other than Fifth Street Gym and Jiu-Jitsu? Give me another one.
Favorite place? Ugh. I don't. Sitting on my couch reading. There you go. I'm gonna be so boring. I like to sit at home and read.
Oh, that's good. Everyone needs their own space.
Yeah.
Right. What about most profound impact on you?
Someone or something, or what's the question?
Sure. Someone, something. It's good. It's good to look in.
These are tough.
It's good to look in.
Most profound impact on me. One person's tough on that. Yeah, Coach Dino's had a profound impact on me.
He got you in the jiu-jitsu, which meant you made Mario.
Well, he's always helped me see myself.
That's
what he's always done. I come and tell Coach Dino crazy things, and God bless him, he always tells me. he always gives me like a very good
And he's a boxing coach, or
He's the boxing coach of History Boxing Gym. Yeah.
What's his background? Like, where did he come from?
He's from Chicago,
Chicago,
of Italian descent. Actually, I was in Italy for his wedding a few years ago in Sicily.
Nice.
That was fun.
That's lovely, huh?
Yeah, we had a great time. We drove up 40 minutes out of Palermo up into some mountainside, and it was all very Godfather-esque. It was awesome.
I want to go to Italy.
He's Coach Dino is, and because I could call him at like 2 a.m., tell him crazy things, and he's so good. He's just like, he cuts right to whatever, cuts through my craziness.
He's a boxing coach for...
He's a professional boxing coach, yeah.
Wow. Super disciplined, trained. Is he in shape or whatever? Or no? I don't know what he looks like.
Now we're laughing
because
he used to be back in the day, but now he has this whole, what is Dino eating now? He puts on his social media.
That's funny.
No, Coach, he knows.
He's Italian?
He's born in Chicago. His mother is from Sicily, yeah. So he could lose some weight right now, as we all have been joking for years, but he's helped me see myself.
Uh-huh. That's a big thing.
And it was years ago. He accepted me as this crazy girl to go and like train with his fighters. Like, it was nuts, but he never told me I couldn't.
Do you think he pushed you there because he knew you wanted to go in that direction?
Jiu-jitsu?
Just anything. Train with the fighters and train. Like, I don't know.
No, he didn't push me. I was just there and it just worked. But he saw that it worked.
Special, right?
Yeah.
That's nice.
100%. Now, to this day, I could tell Dino any crazy stuff, and he's great.
That's very nice. Most important quality of a person?
Authenticity. I'm an authenticity snob more than anything else. Not intellect, not anything else. That.
So what's the big red flag when someone's not authentic?
Speaking out of ego, trying to impress you with stupid things.
You see that a lot here?
Everywhere. It's just human nature.
The peacocking kind of thing.
Everyone does it. It's human nature.
Yeah.
But it's just, and it's always so silly. It's almost always so silly, especially because the people who are truly impressive don't do that. And enough of those people, and then you see someone who's it just makes it laughable.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, the people that have done it are humble because they've failed before, right?
And they
get back up. They try again. They fail. They try again.
They know what that line is.
And then they teach, and they, and then there's way better people.
And authenticity is fun. Because people who are authentic, part of that is not caring what others think about you. Like, as long as you know you're good, you can't. Yeah. So as long as you know you're a good person, what do you care what anyone else thinks about you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I know I'm a good person. Cool. Keep it moving. There's like other people out there, right?
Yeah. I mean, we care, but we don't it's not going to stop us.
No, right. Exactly.
We're not here to piss anyone off.
Yeah.
But I got things to do. I want to go forward. I want to go up. I want to, expand, meet people, and, see my potential, really. I just got an offer to do something in the Turks and Caicos. You ever been there? You ever done anything over there? Figured I'd throw that out there.
Oh, nice. No, not for a long time. But it's beautiful. Hospitality?
It's a piece of land. Oh. I don't know what they want to do over there. I'm sure it's probably some kind of around hospitality.
Fun.
That just came in today. They asked if, I don't know. I'm trying to see if I missed anything. Have you, being in the residential resi, what about Chaplin Towers in that area? Have you?
I did a lot of press on that last year.
Do people say any? So you did a lot of press on that. What's the feeling over there now, or potential buyers, or does it even affect anyone anymore?
No, I said last year it wouldn't affect anything after a few months, and it hasn't.
No one even.
No, it's just human nature.
Right?
People keep moving.
I saw something in the trades today that they were another building failed inspections, and a developer was in there, and they took a big percentage of the ownership, and they're going to knock it down, knock that tower down.
It's going to happen a lot.
And which it should.
It has to. I mean, what's the alternative? Having a building fall? That's crazy that a building fell in the 21st century in America.
I never knew that it could, if a building was being developed beside your building, that it impacted your building. And I was telling that to my wife because they're building a couple down, and I was like, is that affecting us here?
See, I'm like, it would make sense,
that
right?
Drilling and
that makes sense. But listen, cities are full of buildings built next to each other.
Yeah. And no, what about next to on the water?
Yeah, there's also a lot of that around this world, too.
I guess Manhattan's surrounded by water, right?
How often do buildings fall in on themselves in the modern era?
Yeah.
Never.
Well, thank God.
Thank God.
Right?
So that's crazy that happened. That was a combination of negligence, corruption, and just stupidity.
Yeah, stupid. Negligence. I mean, it was ridiculous.
The
Okay, a couple
trifecta.
things. All we own is our time.
Sorry?
All we own is our time.
Yes, right.
Cut the noise.
Yep.
Know the outcome before it happens. I
Yeah,
think
I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, that's kind of like that sounds like it comes from a jiu-jitsu or a chess player, right? Because
Probably.
it's like know the outcome, like you're a couple steps ahead, right? Because we really can't know our outcome in life. I don't know my outcome, right? I don't know. I don't even really want to know it because I don't want to know where's the plateau our outcome's death, like you said earlier.
Sure. No, I meant
You know what I
in
mean?
terms of more like, I mean that comment in the context of more immediate term things that you're seeking to do right now. Like you want to achieve X. It's like running a
Right.
race, right? Track
See
is a
winning
great
it or
analogy
whatever.
because track is
That
so
is.
simple. There's just the time, right? And so you have to run your time. If you don't actually think you're going to run that time, you have no shot. So you're
Correct.
You're trying to do something.
Believe in yourself, kind of.
Yeah, to but like a real like self brainwashing level. Like you have to see it and know that there's a difference between knowing and hoping.
Sure.
And if you know,
Effort. I
it's
think
your
the difference
force
is
of
effort.
will. Yeah, it's your force of will that creates
Yeah.
it in your mind. It's like real voodoo stuff, but it is. You have to, without a shred of doubt, believe you're going to do something, and then you approach it from that perspective. It's like the Sun Tzu quote that all wars are won before they're started. It applies to everything. Otherwise, you're reacting, you're drifting. But if you have that blind belief beforehand, everything that happens to you happens in the context of that already having happened. So you real time turn things into positives. Don't let things deter you. Like you know your outcome.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. You are what you think.
Yeah,
I guess it
that's
goes
more.
back to
1,000%. And that's that ties back to identity limitations, to everything. And then people have so many of these limitations that they don't even question. Like I was in London last month, in June, 2 months ago now. I was speaking to the Chamber of Commerce there and about some future city stuff. And they had these university students that were there. And there's a whole bunch of like young girls, like 20 to 22, that were, I guess, part of some school. And they were from all over. One was from China, studying in the UK. One was from France, whatever, like different countries. And they came up to me. They all wanted to talk to me later. And I'm like, cool. And it was like, yeah, they were asking about their life, and what job they should have, this, and this. And then I asked them, and I was like, well, what do you want your life to look like? And no one had asked them that. And
like at the end.
yeah, they're like,
How do you engineer backwards?
no, like in the end, like now, like what do you want your actual daily life to look like? Like they're like, oh, should I take that job? I'm like, whoa, like which life appeals to you? Like what do you want your life to be like? And no one had asked them that. And I was like, okay, like you know what I mean? You have to know what you want. So they're just floating. They're reacting to people telling them, do this, do that, do this, do that. This will get you a better job. Let's do this. But they've never actually stopped and said, what do I want? And that's the main work. Otherwise, you're just drifting.
No, I've said that to my son as well. Like, what are your interests? What school is it at? And I go, let's think backwards. Where's the job at? Are you going to go live in Kansas? Do you want to live in Kansas?
It was like that type of question I was asking them.
If that's where the operation, the
Yeah.
headquarters is, you know what I mean? Is that really
Yeah.
the job you want? Or so let's think this out rather than just going, I want to go to college and I'm going to get
Right.
this degree.
Right.
You know?
Exactly right. It was just like that. Just like that. It's like, what is
And
your
people
outcome?
are like,
Like,
huh.
I know. I thought I was saying the most obvious
Well,
thing.
what's
and they
the
were like,
salary? Or is
yeah,
it,
and I'm like, who cares? You're 20
positions?
years old. Who cares? Like right now, like you're shaping your life along a path, and that's the most important thing. And they're like, I was like, okay. But and there's a freedom in that, in being 20, and you don't have to support anyone or anything. Just you shouldn't be making limited decisions. You should approach it from limitless. My life can be whatever I want it to be,
Amen.
and go
I
along
love
that
it.
path.
Yeah. I wish you the best luck in all your endeavors, all the things you got going on. And if ever I can help you, for
Thank
sure.
you. Likewise.
Reach out. I mean, we're
We're all
in the
lucky
same
to be in
business.
South Florida. Yay.
Very nice to meet you. Thanks for sitting
Likewise.
down, Anna.
Thank you very much.
Very much a pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to my conversation with Anna Bozovic. To support the podcast, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Now I'll leave you with some words by Anna herself. Focus on positive things. This is an exciting time in history, and especially in Miami. Until next time, I'm David Maggard.